I'll try also to upload the next video on the new YouTube channel of Sylva. Just it has just been released by Naomi. So you'll have the link in the minutes of this meeting. Concerning the agenda for this 54th TSC meeting, we will have a focus on the Open SSF. And just before going on the detailed agenda, we will have a short roundtable on the participants of this meeting. So concerning the members, I see Telecom Italia, Orange, Dutch Telecom, Telefonica, not yet.
Luis
is there.
I am here.
Yeah, Luis. Hello, Luis.
Hello.
Sorry.
Hello.
Too many people on my screen. Okay. Vodafone, not sure. Uni is here. He say hello, but we have also Rehab. Okay, so we have almost a full audience, so the quorum is largely reached. And we are also welcoming other participants. So we are happy to have also control plane. We have Red Hat. We have got also Christos Tranoris from Etsy. He has trouble to connect. We've got Canonical, Linux Foundation, of course. And did I miss someone? Six Wind, Open Nebula, and Victor Lou. Sorry, I don't know from which company you are coming from.
Oh, I'm independent. I'm just interested in what the project is about.
Okay. So that's it for today. Participation. Next TSC will be the 21st of May. For this next occurrence, we have a proposal from Open Nebula to present their technical strategy in Sylva. And following what they are going to present, perhaps we will need a vote from the different members. As far as I understood, it's a significant evolution of our technical strategy to host a new infrastructure provider. So a vote can reinforce this evolution of a project. I don't know if Mandarin, you want to say just a word as a teaser.
Yeah, you resume perfectly the situation. We want to bring Open Nebula as a new infrastructure as service here. We want to take advantage of Sylva's framework that avoids vendor lock-in at the level of containers as a service, but also at the level of infrastructure as a service, and to bring into this framework our product as well. And we will be very happy to present it during the next TSC. We already presented it to work group 01. We continue to improve it based on the feedback from that work group. And yeah, we remain at your disposal for any other details. Thank you very much again for this opportunity.
Thanks, Madeline. Concerning the general news, the last one is that we had a call with Carlo Federico from Sylva, but with Nefos Foundation project, so with SAP, Eviden, and other contributors. So if I want to sum up the different exchanges, so Nefos is also a project within the Linux Foundation Europe. They want also to tackle some challenges we identified in Sylva with multi-Kubernetes and bare metal automation. Cluster API was not existing when they have launched the project, so they have some functional scope, but now it's fully integrated within a cluster API. So it's not so clear what's going to happen in the future, perhaps a migration to cluster API. And they've got another dedicated project on the bar metal automation without Metal Cube, but relying on Redfish. And on this one, they have also the ambition to be interlocked with cluster API. So we took the decision to stay synchronized on the different progress, because what the issue they are tackling is exactly the same one we want to enhance. For example, they have good feedback on the not only the operating system deployment, but also how to manage the BIOS. So I think it's important when we are addressing some use case like Open RAN to also to be able to manage the BIOS update and so on. So we see a common interest to stay tuned with this project. But yeah, that's it for the moment. I don't know, Carlo, if you have other topics you want to highlight.
No, I think that you summarized completely.
Okay. No news from the governing board because the session will be after. Probably next Thursday. I don't remember when. I think it's soon. Or next week. I don't remember. Sorry. I know that
Next week.
Next week. Yeah. Nicola and I will not be available, if I remember. Thank you, Naomi. If you have some governance topics, please raise your hand. No. Okay, so you can do it at any moment. And I will let the floor to Matthew to give some updates about the Workgroup 1 and its fresh updates, because the wiki has been updated 5 minutes ago. Go ahead, Matthew.
Thank you, Guillaume. Yeah, just to tell you that we keep working on v1.4. So we plan to release it before end of May with a feature freeze date the 20th of May. So fully every features that are mandatory for 1.4 that are currently under review will land before that date. We are working on the release note, and this version is introducing some breaking change for the values that have been used for v1.3. They have to be updated in order to upgrade to v1.4. So we will probably work on a specific document to document the way to upgrade from v1.3 to v1.4 and what has to change from a values perspective, so from an API perspective to ensure a successful upgrade path. And that's all for me, focusing on v1.4 now. Every developer is focusing on that.
Thank you, Matthew. Any question to Workgroup 1? No? Okay, so if it's crystal clear, we will switch to the next topic concerning Workgroup 2 on the validation center.
Okay. Hello. Okay, so things that we are doing, we are with the backlog, we keep progressing with the 3 workloads that we are working on. The F5 big IP, the Druid software, and the Titanium. Actually, the Druid software was already completed, so we have one completed, and actually we completed also the security validation with this one. So, and this is good because we have done the security analysis following the security guidelines for this one, and the report will be included. The validation report for that one will be included with the completed or issued with that additional information, and this is what we want to do moving forward for the rest of them. We have 3 new ones that are being proposed. that will be reviewed in the next meeting. I think it's next week, in the next validation meeting, because we are checking the requirements. Because one of them is the NVIDIA application. Actually, it's called exactly the AI Enterprise Toolkit from NVIDIA, and we have to check if all of it requires the GPU or if part of them can be done without GPU. And if so, if the GPU is required, we have to confirm if the platform incorporates the feature. So we are reviewing those for those that have been proposed, which are, as I say, the Enterprise Toolkit, also a firewall from Juniper, and another big IP from F5 specific for Kubernetes. So we have to review if we can actually validate them or if we need features to be incorporated in the platform. And if so, we will work with working group 1 to define a roadmap for that. And we are also working in the new validation platform that I commented last time, which is working with White Stack. The interesting element here is that the combination incorporates AMD hardware. So it's an interesting thing because if we validate with different hardware, we are demonstrating things are not attached to a specific hardware. We have a validation platform with HP, another with, as you know, with typical x86, but this one is for AMD, so it's an interesting element. We are working on creating a validation platform there, and to do that, we are actually running a workload that has already been validated just to confirm that the results are okay, everything is the same, so that we can confirm its actual validation platform. So what we want to do next, we want to complete the backlog that we have. We want to incorporate the new ones after we identify that the requirements are covered by the platform. And we want to create this new validation platform to have an additional combination and run some of the existing validations there. Okay, so this is the status for validation working group 2.
Any question to Luis? No, this is very clear. Just on my side, coming back on this very good news with White Stack that you are progressing well. Is it, I don't remember, is it CAS on bare metal?
Yes. Actually,
Yes, okay.
we have the two options. We can do it with bare metal and with not bare metal, but we want to do it with bare metal so that we can, it's a combination that we don't have today. Having bare metal with AMD is a new thing, but we can do the other. We will see. We may create an additional, but I think the bare metal is the good one.
And when you are mentioning working on a new validation with White Stack, is it under the umbrella of Telefonica, or will it be a White Stack validation center? Just to understand on my side.
We are reviewing that right now. Probably it's going to be managed by White Stack, but supervised by Telefonica because we have to provide support to do these validations.
Okay. Okay, great. If White Stack will be the owner of the validation center, or I don't know, or on any form, perhaps it's a significant highlight of the project to have a new partner leading a validation center, and perhaps Naomi, we should, or Nicola, we should communicate on this, on the highlights of the project. But yeah.
Okay, when we complete it, we can work on it.
Yeah, and it's
the
on your hands, Luis and Luis. It's on your heads to propose something, but I think it can be a highlight of a project, having a new validation center and a new partner on this, if it's relevant. So it's up to you, really.
Okay, we will work on that.
Thank you. Concerning work group 3.
Hello, everyone.
Lots of updates.
Yep. So quite some progress from the last TSC. We have finalized the first draft for the call for proposal. for the Open SSF. I have put also the link to the proposal for anybody who is interested to view it when the minutes get released. We have also finalized the first draft of the common vulnerability disclosure process. Again, I put here the link and a comment for Naomi, since I've had some exchanges with you regarding this content. I have also created a mock-up and I have sent it to you via email to get a bit of more of an idea on how exactly we would like the disclosure to be put in the page on the Sylva website. Then the outcomes of the workshops and the materials for the press release and for the LinkedIn post have been shared with Working Group 5. We've also had a demo from fbk.eu regarding TLS assistant, which they have created, and we were exploring to see if there's any interest and common points for Sylva. But unfortunately, we didn't find let's say anything very specific because we don't use TLS that much in our stack. I've also been invited to participate in a partner working group meeting from NBIP Research Center. So I participated in this meeting today. And concerning the next steps, we will continue with the redesign of the UCS requirements analysis report to share it with the community, finalize the call for the paper, and to finalize the CVD process. And I think that's all from my side. I think, Guillaume, could you go a bit down? There was one more thing. Okay. Yeah, because what I was mentioning, since we have the quorum, I've made a proposal to modify the statement of the working group 3. So the current statement is the one which you see here highlighted by Guillaume, and the proposal is to change it to the 4 bullet points. The first one is related to specifying the features and requirements for the Sylva stacks in line with EU cybersecurity requirements, because we want to not be limited only to the analysis of EUCS. The European Union has different initiatives also in terms of cybersecurity. And I think that it would be good to broaden the scope on the EU side, not just to EUCS. I've also put the design for security guidelines for the workloads onboarded on the Sylva stack. This is something which we already did, and there was the change in the mission previously, but for some reason I didn't found it in the last minutes, so I added again. So this is something which we already done. It refers to the CNF guidelines, which have been drafted. The third bullet point is to act as a liaison between Sylva security topics and other organizations focused on open source security. We have quite a lot of different organizations approaching us requiring the collaboration. The working group also has interest in collaborating and working together with Open SSF. So we would like to continue this type of activities. And the last point is referring to different approaches on how to deal with vulnerability management, supply chain security, and IAM for the Sylva stack. And here I'm referring more regarding different sort of recommendations on how exactly to manage these parts. So not necessarily going into the details of what should be managed, but to define the approach and how exactly should we tackle these areas.
Okay, so your proposal is to modify here the main goals of the work group 3, extending from the EU CS requirements. Perhaps you want also to change the title, because currently it's only work group security requirements. We can have, I don't know, work group security. I don't know what is your proposal.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
Okay, so we can have a vote from the different member. Telecom Italia, is it clear? Sorry, before the vote, is it clear for all?
Yes.
Yes.
For me, yes.
Okay, so now having the vote, Carlo, is it okay for you?
Yes. Okay for me.
Okay, Orange, okay. Dutch Telecom, Book, you're on mute.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine for me.
Okay. Telefonica,
Okay. No, Telefónica, okay.
okay. Ericsson, Riyab. I don't know if Riyab is still here. Not anymore. Uni. Uni, you're on mute. So I will ask by a chat to Uni if you can confirm. Okay, so you can follow. So just. So we have not the decision yet. I will ask to Uni to proceed. And in the meantime, Wamin, engage you to start on the work group 4.
So, the last meeting, TS meeting, the Orange team had demoed the green dashboard for the first release. So at the time of demo, the features included the platform level and the data center level. So the team is working towards the namespace level. So if you are in the cluster, you can see the energy consumption as well as the carbon footprint as per each namespace. So this will give you better granularity for what is going on in this scenario. And also for the visualization, because the expanded scope and granularity, so more Grafana dashboard will be configured towards that direction. So at the moment, there's quite a few personas using the green dashboard for data center operator, for the application developers. So the next feature is to make the dashboard more configurable for this type of personas. So you can use the dashboard to get more heuristics of what is going on. Finally, there's more contributors on board. So Remy is creating more tasks and guidelines, and also the Jira ticket for community contributions. Hopefully we can get more feedback next time. That is all for what we have done. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question to Wamin? No question to Wamin. Okay, thanks. So we are coming back on the work group 3. Thanks, Uni, for your feedback. So the proposal has been validated. Congratulations to this work group extending their ambition to cover new topics on the security analysis and technical proposal. Perhaps it will be also an opportunity to engage more partners with this evolution of the scope. Thanks, Mihail, for this proposal.
Yeah, and thank you everybody for the vote and for the trust.
Okay. So concerning the work group 5, communication and adoption. So who's presenting this for today?
I can do it, but Nicola is also there. I don't know. Andre, are you here too? Okay.
I don't see Andre. Go ahead, Julie.
Okay, so thank you, everyone. So our main goal is, of course, the Open Source Summit in Amsterdam. What we need from you guys actually is that for our next meeting for the work group communication and adoption, that the work group leaders come with us to the meeting so that we can fix the agenda and have technical and high-level presentation. And because we want to pick, as soon as we have the agenda, we can send the invitation and you can register and so on and so on. So we will send you the next invitation, and please join or just send us your proposal for the presentation, and we will gather them and choose wisely. Right.
Okay. When is the next work group 5 meeting? Sorry.
Yep.
So it's next Thursday, May 15th.
15th.
So yeah.
Okay.
Can I take the screen sharing just for a second, Guillaume?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. So thank you. So just to show you, as usual, Naomi set up the usual framework to prepare events. So this is a Google Doc, and I just put the link to the Google Doc in the chat. So this will be the agenda of the Sylva Mini Summit. It's a full day event. It will begin by an introduction of the project, obviously. And here we have a place where you can put topics, proposals, okay, that we will then select. So we already have some proposals. Sylva deployments in production, who, where, and why, with some testimonials. Architecture and demo for the GitOps part on the cloud and the network function, the workloads. Proposal for work group 2 to be discussed with you, Luis, obviously. Validation center benefits, backlog, the overall validation process overview, plus for instance, the new white stack validation center could be an interesting information. For work group 3, showcase that we have a state-of-the-art secured telco cloud stack. That could be a proposal. And then scaling Sylva-based telco cloud with reliably and securely in a secured way. Okay, so we have proposals. Feel free to add some. You see across the day we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 7 slots possible. So we need your proposals, and as Julie said, we will review them, or you can join also, and you will be invited to the next meeting on next Thursday in order to progress on this organization.
Thank you,
All
Nicola.
clear?
All clear. So I've heard, Julie, that you're going to send the 15th of May occurrence to the different work group leader, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thanks for this. And I will take the role also. I'm just taking the notes for me to update and some proposal there also. And okay, with the link you shared me.
Yes. The ones in blue are just brainstorming. So for instance, Luis, the one from for the work group 2 is just brainstorming. It really requires that you give your go or propose something more to the point, of course.
Okay.
Okay. Other topic, Julie?
Not that we can share now, unless you.
You want to talk about we started working, it's brainstorming, and we started the creative work for the design for some mascot or
exactly.
more goodies. So it's a fun topic, but I think it's a good one. We have a logo, Sylva, which is really cool. Now Julie and Ines have started working on the proposals to have, I don't know what you say in English. We call it a mascot in French. So Naomi, if you're there, can you help? Yeah, a kind of plush, Julie?
It's a mascot in English as well.
Perfect language. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So a mascot, just to give it a more fun. And as Julie was saying, it would allow us to make some more advanced goodies, like some plushies that we could distribute on certain events. Because why not? Who doesn't like a nice plush?
And plus, we are working on creating a video for Sylva. And we sent the notes, the scripts we would like on the video, a quick video from 1 or 2 minutes only, so that we can share it during events or on the website and so on. We sent everything to Naomi, and she's getting to get us in contact with one of the marketing agency. So this is the goal, guys, to have one good video presenting Sylva and its mission.
And the stickers. We currently have one type of stickers, and we are also working on having a second, and why not a third type of stickers, Sylva stickers, just to change a bit. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Noemi, have you other topics you want to address?
No, I actually just want to let you all know that David is now here for the Open SSF part of the TSC. So I would like to give a brief introduction to him, and then we can hand it over to David. So if you all are okay, I will move forward with that.
Yeah, just one, sorry, Noemi, just to finish 1 minute with Workgroup 6. And after we let the floor to David. Morgan, sorry for this, Naomi.
Yes, it will be quick, but you can refresh a page. So
yeah,
there is a result of the vote that was done offline, so was shared by Naomi. So as far as I read, so it was validated by 5 voices over 7. So we can consider that we got the green light, and it has been endorsed by the TSC. I published the last minute of the previous meeting, which includes some discussion on 5G security CV management. I refactor a little bit the website in order to integrate the different video done by the telco for during the KubeCon or during the different event. So dealing only with GitOps management of CNF. And I'm preparing the agenda for the next meeting on the 15th of May as well, 3 p.m. And here I send an invitation to the telco because at the moment we are mainly discussing between all the telco provider, but not the vendor. So it's more an invitation for the vendor to join and to also share with us their GitOps journey. So I got already some answers. So we will have some presentation from some telco vendor, but the invitation is still open. It's a short presentation just to give in 1 or 2 or 3 slides the view and some visions. And we'll have also some discussion after the guideline that we just validated. There is some request to continue working on the next step, dealing with continuous integration and deployment between vendor and telco provider. So that's for the working group 6.
Many thanks, Morgan. And so, Naomi, I give you again the floor with David for the focus of the day. Sorry.
Perfect. No worries.
No problems. First, can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, David, we can hear you.
All right, that is a good start. I have a couple slides. I should have tested whether or not I can share my screen.
You have been promoted as an administrator, so it should be okay.
Okay, done.
All righty, can we share screen? Let's see.
And as David's doing that, everyone, I'll give you all a brief intro of him. So David is director over on the open source supply chain security, so Open SSF, and he leads our education efforts and also co-leads the CRA efforts as well. He's kind of my go-to to like basically give people a rundown on Open SSF and how to get started with the best practices badge. So that's why we invited him here today. So thank you in advance, David, for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. So I have a couple slides. I actually have way more than I want to share. I presume that we have until the top of the hour. Is that, or do we have more time? Is that correct? Top of the hour? Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
20
Yeah,
minutes.
We have 20
All right,
minutes.
so
Yes.
I've got just a couple slides, but really my goal is to just provide a little information and then open up for questions, because I want to answer your questions, not just show slides. Can everyone see my slide with the goose?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah, so I work for the Open Source Security Foundation, Open SSF, created in 2020. It's a community working together to secure open source software. You'll notice sometimes our work actually just applies to all software, because the reality is attackers don't care what the license of the software is. They just attack and want to do bad things. So we're trying to prevent them from succeeding. One challenge when you're talking about the Open Source Security Foundation is that there's a whole lot of projects. There's a whole lot of different ways that attackers attack. There's different defenses and techniques that we've developed. And so it's not one of those, oh, look, here's the one thing, and then we're all done. There's nothing else you need to think about. And so one of our projects called Salsa came up with this very simple, relatively simple diagram at the top. How is software developed? Well, you start with developers. They create source code, it's built, it's packaged, and then it's released somewhere out. And of course, there's a cyclical thing as packages are pulled in to larger systems, to larger systems, to larger systems. And there's other letters and so on, basically show the many, many projects that we have in the Open SSF that try to deal with attacks and issues along all of those processes. I could actually walk through this whole chart. I'm not going to, but unless you really, really want me to. But I'm just trying to show that we've got a lot of different things. And so one of the things I'm going to quickly ask is, hey, what are the problems that you're concerned about? Let's see if we can find some tools either within the Open SSF or with the other folks that we partner with, because we don't want to redo anything. If somebody's already solving a problem, we'll point people to it with gladness. I was asked to particularly talk about the Open SSF Best Practices Badge. So let me briefly talk about that. This was a project started a number of years ago, actually by me. It identifies a set of best practices for open source projects with the goal of increasing the likelihood of better quality and security. And these are just a couple of the examples of the criteria. You've got to support HTTPS. You've got to have at least one automated test suite. You must have at least one static analysis tool applied. Presuming there's a tool that an open source tool that can be applied to it. The project must publish the process for reporting vulnerabilities. It's form-based with automation to help people fill in. So basically, when an open source project says, "Hey, I want to try to earn this badge," we use some automation to try to figure out which of the criteria they meet, fill that information in, and then ask, "Hey, please fill in the rest," and so on. And if a project meets a best practice criteria, it earns a badge. And everything in that is public, so everybody can review that. There are pros and cons to all systems. It's primarily self-certification, but there's automated checks, and we do reject things where we can clearly show a claim is false. Public spot checks, because it's all public accountability. There are 3 levels to it. We call them passing, silver, gold. As of today, we have over 8,400 projects, 8,400. Over 1,700 are passing or higher. You know what? Just for amusement, it's because we are live. The badge. This is the badge application itself, and it actually will show you statistics over time. So you can see that over the years, we've had more and more projects participate. And this is a breakout of the percentage, 100% meaning passing in this case. And increasingly people find some criteria they're not meeting, they work on it, they improve it. And so over time, we're having more and more projects get more and more success in meeting those criteria. I'll quickly note that we in the Open SSF have a follow-on project called Baseline that we're working on, where we're taking these criteria, other criteria from other projects, trying to win it down to a very small set in discussion. So, badges is something you can do right now. Baseline, something we're working on. We'd love to hear feedback. Let me go back to the slideshow here and just talk about a couple of the other things that Open SSF has that might be of use to you. So badges is, for both open source projects, they can show that they do certain criteria. And of course, it's helpful for people consuming open source because this lets them know, hey, what do they do? However, if you just want to evaluate something real quickly, we have a different project called Scorecard. This just automatically scores open source software projects. It can work without any cooperation from the project. There's a couple of criteria we can't get the data without some additional rights, but most of it we can get just, and this is great for just evaluating some other project real quickly. We score everything from 0 to 10, 10 being good. Works for projects hosted on GitHub and more recently on GitLab. We actually run this routinely on over 1 million open source software projects. Anybody can run the tool, but we will run it for you weekly for you, so you can grab the data. Here's an example of the kinds of things that we look for. Is it free of checked-in binaries? If people checked in binaries, that can be a sign of problems. Does it use a system called branch protection to ensure that there's an opportunity for external review before things get merged in? Does it have continuous integration testing? Is there a required code review before code is merged? And one of them is actually, does it have an Open SSF best practices badge, which connects to the thing I just mentioned to you earlier. And Sonatype in 2022 found that it was actually, it actually helped predict known vulnerabilities. It's not like it's checking code looking for specific vulnerabilities. It's looking for a larger process that can help counter vulnerabilities. And unsurprisingly, if you take steps to systemically counter vulnerabilities, you're more likely to counter them. Another project we have is something called Salsa. This is more of a specification, although there is a data format related to it. Our 1.0 version, which is what's out now, focuses on what's called the build track. In other words, you have source code, you build it, that turns it into packages that people download and run and so on. Unfortunately, some attackers have discovered that they attack the build process and subvert that. Think, for example, SolarWinds, Orion. This can produce some really disastrous results. And one obvious solution is, well, let's protect the build environment so that it's much harder to break into. And Salsa has been focusing on that. More recently, we're adding criteria on a separate track for protecting the source code. So again, this is but this is more of a focusing on specific areas. We have something called SigStore, which is a software signing service. Technologically, signing is a solved problem. We have tools and algorithms that let people digitally sign programs and then later verify their signatures. But the reality is that the vast majority of open source software packages are not cryptographically signed. They're not verified, even if they are. Verification is often pretty impractical. I can, in some cases, yes, I can tell it was signed, but I can't tell if it's an authorized party or a malicious party. And so we developed something called SigStore. It's a free-to-use, nonprofit software signing service. It supports several different mechanisms, but I think one of the things that's particularly interesting is it supports something called ephemeral short-lived key pairs. There are still keys, but they exist for a very short time, and then they get thrown away. And the advantage of that is that a lot of problems with signing is trying to manage the keys. Let's solve that differently so that from a user's point of view, they don't need to do key management. And that really makes a lot of things easier. This has been available now for a couple of years, and we have gotten a lot of users now. A couple other things that we've got that might be of interest to you. We have something called the Concise Guide for Developing More Secure Software. It's a very short document listing various things you can do to develop more secure software. Of course, the trick to making it really, really short is we point out to other materials that drill in more detail. But a lot of people say, hey, how do I make stuff more secure? I'm confused. There's so many options. We understand. Here's a start here button. Start here. It's short, it's simple. It will identify some of the things that will help you and will point you off to things that can help you to do those specific actions. Of course, if you're bringing in software, before you bring it in, you probably should evaluate it. And so that we have a concise guide for evaluating open source software. Addressing things like, hey, can you avoid adding it? Are you evaluating the intended version of the intended software? This deals with one of the most common attacks on open source software, something called typo squatting. Attackers have found that they don't need to break into the open source software that people use. They just create another program with a similar name and convince people that that's the software they want to download instead. And and people don't look and say, I know this program's been around for 15 years. This project started last week. Must be the same thing. It's probably not. And so, trying to help people identify, how to quickly evaluate, including evaluating the right software. I'm not going to talk about Alpha Omega for now. We can do that later. We have several courses available. The one I'm particularly going to talk about real quickly is LFD 121, which is our course on developing secure software. It's completely free, 14 to 18 hours. 3 parts is listed there. Requirements, design, reuse, implementation, verification. Now, I mentioned earlier, attackers don't care what the license of the software is. And so while the Open SSF's primary remit is about open source software, this is one of those things that, frankly, even if you only develop closed source software, this is open data, free course that for anyone who's trying to develop secure software, because the principles apply to everybody. And there's a free certificate of completion if you complete the course. We have 2 other courses. I don't have slides on it right in front of me, but one is for managers. That's LFD 125. That's much shorter, but it focuses on what managers need to know. And we have a brand new spanking course on the CRA, the Cyber Resilience Act of the EU. That one has gone off as gangbusters. All 3 of those, by the way, are free courses. The CRA course is LFEL 1001. And we've had over 2,000 people enroll in just these first few weeks. There's just been tremendous, the CRA is really tremendously important, and there's been just a lot of interest. And we very much focus on the the laws out there. It's it's going to start applying in 2026, full thing 2027. And so what do you need to do? And so we provide that key information. Of course, it can't be an open source project for Foundation if I don't say, hey, please get involved. If you're interested in these things, if you're interested in collaborating on these things, that's how we do all these things. So we really believe industry, academia, government, we should all, worldwide, we should all be working together. Best way to influence a project is to get involved. So love to hear feedback, love to get involvement at any level. And with that, I have shown you just a very few slides. I have more information, but I want to actually switch it over and focus on what your interests are. Let me see, I need to stop my sharing here to stop inception here. Okay, so how can I, whoops, and everybody switched off their screen, so I see only one person, but than myself. But hopefully that was helpful. Quick introduction. How can I help?
Mihai, you have your hand raised.
Yep. So thank you, David, for the presentation. I have 2 quick questions.
Sure.
one is related to the badge.
Yes.
So we have ran on one of our Sylva elements the scorecard to get a feeling of what exactly it does and what it's checking. And we have the results. Though for some of them we have a couple of questions. In order to not go right now into the specifics and not have everybody here on the specifics, I would ask if it's possible to direct me to one of your colleagues which can help us address the specific questions we have regarding the results, because there were some.
Okay, this is results of scorecard, right?
Yeah.
It's for the results. Absolutely happy to do that. I mean, I can. Yeah, some of these questions I can probably answer myself, but I can just pull you into the scorecard group, who would be delighted to answer. I mean, frankly, the quick way might be just to send a Slack message.
Okay.
But emails, we have working group meetings. We want to answer your questions. So whatever way you wish to engage.
Anyway, it's okay for us. I mean, either if it's Slack or something else, it's okay. We just need to know the means of communication. So that's my first question.
Okay. Slack's easy, but we'll take anything.
Okay. And the second question is regarding Salsa. So what we're also trying to, what we are looking in the working group is seeing how can we achieve the level 3 Salsa. And one of the goals is to do this check kind of in a more automatic way. Based on our research which we have done, we saw there are some artifact verifiers. We found one which is called Conforma, which is checking the level compliancy, but this verifier is only integrated with the Conflux CI/CD workflows. And I was interested if you know any verifiers which work with the GitLab CI/CD workflows that could help us.
I don't know offhand, but that sounds like a great thing. I'm going to dump you off to the Salsa folks. And because I would expect that if there is one, they would know. So feel free. Let's make a little list here and try to get you connected up to the right folks. But yeah. We've been trying to extend our reach beyond GitHub. GitHub's kind of because it's the most widely used, it's the first place. But we don't want to actually be, in spite of the fact that GitHub is one of the groups in Open SSF, we actually don't want to be tied to any one hosting system, any one forge. So I would expect that there's something, but I don't know one offhand. So let me get you to the folks who are more likely to help you out there.
Perfect. Thank you, David.
Sure. Any other questions?
Okay. No other questions. So yeah, thank you for your presentation, David. And as you see, Mihai and the work group 3 is following carefully what is going on this foundation. We are following also about OpenBAO, something you have not mentioned, but that's also what we are looking at carefully, the evolution of OpenBAO within OpenSSF. And so that's it. And we hope to have some. We just proposed a CFP for the OpenSSF event in Amsterdam. So we hope we can discuss how Sylva can use OpenSSF and give a user perspective, and how then we can be more engaged in this collaboration.
wonderful. Just to kind of wrap up, and different people obviously and different organizations have different challenges. So we try to provide a range of, I guess, tools. I mean tools in a broad sense, and various materials, tools, educational materials, specifications to try to deal with various challenges. And first, we'd always love to hear people use what we've got. If there's a problem, like, hey, I want to work it, but I can't find a solution for using it on GitLab, for example, let's find a way to work it. Maybe something can be extended to work for your particular use case. So I would be delighted to continue the conversation in whatever form that happens.
Many thanks for your proposals. I hope that members of this community will get in touch to you directly to have this follow-up.
Fantastic.
Thanks
all.
I will close the TSC. Last comment, last question for any topics? No. Thanks, Noemi, also for inviting David. It's useful that you are a leg in the two projects, so we will use it.
Yes. Thank you again, David.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye.
Bye.